Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Nicholas and I am here to do a walkthrough for you on what the Pitch Wars submission form is going to look like. So if you're finding this video and you don't know what Pitch Wars is, it is a mentoring event that happens once a year where established writers and industry professionals mentor up and coming writers. And if you want to learn more about that and how it works, go to www.pitchwars.org and you can read all about it there. Now, for those of you who do know what Pitch Wars is and you're waiting to see what the submission form looks like, we're just going to go ahead and dive right in.
All right, so you may be clicking a direct link to our submission site, but in case you're not, I'm going to show you where to start straight from the Pitch Wars homepage. So we are at pitchwars.org, which is our homepage. So you see this big all caps submit right there? That's how you're going to get to the submission site. But I did want to point out a couple of things before I go there. So if you haven't read this What is Pitch Wars page, make sure you read that because it has kind of the very basic information about what we need for you to have ready and also a little bit about what to do after you submit. And then if you go to the submission FAQ, waiting for that to load, you can also go to that straight from About Pitch Wars to frequently asked questions and click on that. But this has a whole bunch more information and it answers a lot of questions. I would say about 90% of the questions that we get on social media and through email are actually answered on this page. So make sure you go and read through all of that before submitting. Now we're going to go and click on the submit button and it's going to take us to the submission site. Now this is actually the site that the mentors see, but you are going to see these versions of Poe and you're going to pick one based on what category you're submitting. So your page is going to look a little bit different than this because the information up above is for mentors, but you're still going to see these logos here. So I am a young adult author, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the young adult submission site. And this is what it looks like. You're going to see young adult manuscript submission. So if you click on it and you see the wrong category here or here, you know you're in the wrong place. So make sure you go back and click on the right category. Gail put together a page for me to test this out on called Test Run. So this is actually the same exact form as young adult. It just says Test Run up here. That's the only difference. And she put that together so I can do this video specifically. So it starts off pretty simple. Your name is the first thing there. And if you write under a pen name, you can go ahead and just type in your pen name. Or if you would like to also know what your real name is, you can write where it says here, real name, writing as pen name. And so it's totally up to you. The only reason we need your real name is if you go by that name on social media and you want to make sure that we know who you are. And then you're going to put in your email address. So this is my email address, and this is very, very important that you double check this and make sure that you got this right. So don't copy and paste from the first line into the second line because typing it out is going to give you more confidence that you actually entered your email in right. Because if these two don't match, the form is going to give you an error. So it is better to type them in both times so you can make sure that you got that exactly right. Because if you don't, there's no way for the mentors to contact you to request materials. And also you're not going to get your confirmation email. So it is very, very important that you get this email address right. Now you're going to type in your Twitter handle, and if you'll notice, this is completely optional. So the red asterisk means that it's required, and there is no red asterisk here because that is completely optional. So please make sure to follow this format right here. It just makes it easier for us. And then your website, this is also optional, so you can go ahead and put it in if you would like, but you do not have to if you don't want to. Now, here we have the question, are you under 18 years old? So if you're not, you can go ahead and click no if you're over the age of 18. But if you are under the age of 18, we do require parental permission to enter. And so the parent is actually going to need to be with you when you are filling out this form. So make sure you plan for that. So if you're under 18, you're going to click yes here. And then you enter in your age. And then you or your guardian can enter in their name here. And then you're going to want to enter the parent's email address. Now, this is very important. The parent or the guardian is the one who needs to fill this out. This is basically a digital signature. So if you sign this for your parent, then that is technically fraud. So we want to make sure that you are not doing that, that you actually have your parent with you when you're doing this. Now, I am well over 18 years old, so I'm going to go ahead and click no on that. And then we go to mentor selections. And so Gail has put this really handy dandy link in here. It says read the mentor wish list if you haven't. We get several people every year who get to this stage and don't realize that there are such things as mentor wish lists. So that's why she put that in there. And so you're going to go to mentor pick. So one is required. Absolutely one needs to be picked. And these first four, these are just things that we have for our internal purposes right now. Those are not going to be on the form whenever you submit. And as you see, the mentors are in alphabetical order by first name, but they're not repeated. So you see like Kelly, Quinlan, and Adrian here. They're not going to be listed under Adrian up here. So if you can't find a pair of co-mentors, make sure you look for both names because it could be in any order. And these are the orders that mentors choose. So we don't choose these, but so make sure you go through and look at these. So you're going to want to pick 4 mentors, right? So let's start with Sonia, who I would love to mentor me. And then you can pick up to 4 total. And every year we get people who choose like 1 or 2 mentors. And I honestly don't really understand it because even if you think a mentor isn't a super great pick for you, you're just kind of like wasting a chance. And if they're not interested, that's fine. They're just gonna, not read the rest of the submission. But on the off chance that they are interested, I don't see why you wouldn't just go ahead and go for it. And so I'm gonna just choose my mentors here at random. We got Michaela Greer. And let's see, let's choose Brenda. Brenda's gonna get the submission in her box, in her test inbox anyway. And then Chelsea Hensley. And so if you notice, the ones that I chose above didn't disappear from subsequent lists. So I could go ahead and choose Brenda Drake again, and then you would see both them in both forms here. So after you're done choosing your mentors, you want to make sure that you don't have any repeats here. And just take a second to go over it and make sure that those are the people that you meant to submit to. And I say this, double check everything because our website team is not going to be able to make changes to your manuscript. We get, at least 3,500 submissions in a year, and we just we don't have the time to do it. So you have to make sure that everything is correct when you submit. Now we're getting along to your manuscript. So you want to type in the title of your manuscript, and I'm going to be doing this as if I was trying to submit my book, Keeping Her Secret, which is a published book. You're not allowed to enter published books in Pitch Wars, just to be clear, but I'm just using it as an example here. And if you don't have a title, that's kind of okay, but you can just use like a filler title, whatever you are calling your manuscript. You may want to put something in there, even if it's not great, just so it doesn't look like forgot to title it, basically. So this is the only thing that's new from this year is the genre is now a drop-down list. And there's note is here, but I'm going to read it out loud because it's very important. These genres are for statistical purposes only. Please choose the one that represents your novel the closest. You are welcome to name more specific or uncommon genres in the text of your query. And the reason why is because everyone always wants to know statistics on genre submissions, but because this form, this you know, entry here was just kind of free form and you could write whatever you want in here, that was a huge, huge labor to be able to put all those together because so many people would write their genres slightly differently, or they would list like 6 genres in the list, and it would make it hard for me to categorize those. So this drop down is for statistical purposes only. Now your mentors are going to see it though, so you want to make sure it is accurate as it can be. But if something in this list doesn't match your genre exactly, pick the thing that is closest to it or encompasses it the best. So you'll see you have romance and you have all the different subgenres of romance here. And then you have science fiction, all different subgenres of science fiction. Same with fantasy. We have horror, steampunk, contemporary, 3 different categories here. And several of the smaller categories that we have, and the mystery categories are right here, and a little bit of the other smaller categories that we have here. Now this list is going to be available on the blog post that's how to prepare your 2019 Pitch War submission, but I can't show you that yet because this video has to go on that page. But you are going to be able to see an Excel list of these genres, so you don't have to like pause this video and try to figure it out from here. You'll be able to see that on the blog post. And mine is actually a romance, contemporary romance. So lucky for me, that's the first one submitted or selected. And then we have this question, is this a graphic novel? And you click yes or no. And nothing happens if you click yes or no here. This is, again, more for our purposes, so we know how many graphic novels are being submitted, so that we can make sure in the future that we have enough mentors to take all these graphic novels if we see an uptick in how many are being submitted. Now, if you do have a graphic novel, this is on the FAQ, but in the form, you're just going to put the first basically 10 pages of your script, and not the first 10 pages as in what would be 10 pages in the graphic novel, but actually 10 pages of text. So just go ahead and copy the 10 pages of text in your script, and then the mentor is going to be able to see this. So if you have said, yes, this is a graphic novel, then they know to request sample art from you if they want to see it. And so you should have at least 1 page of sample art available for the mentors upon request. And then here we have your manuscript's word count, round to the closest 1,000 words. And I do this statistics, so if y'all could do me a big favor and just make sure that this is actually a number, that would go a long way towards helping me out. So you can either do it like that with no comma, or you can put the comma in. That's fine, as long as it's a number format. What I really, really don't want is for you to be like 58K or 58,000, because I have to go in and manually change all of those into numbers to do our statistics. So if you could please just make sure this is a number, that would help me out a lot. Now, here is the query letter field, and I'm going to copy. I didn't have a query letter for keeping her secret, but what I've done is I've just turned my back cover copy into a query letter for the purposes of this demonstration. And so I'm just copying it straight from Word. You saw what it looks like in Word, right? So it just kind of looks like that. It has this formatting that's set by Word. And so I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that into the screen. So it looks like this. Now yours may not look like this depending on what your word settings are, but if it looks something like this, you're good. You're good to go. So one thing that will happen for some people, and I just went ahead and copied my query into Notepad to show this effect to you, and this will happen in all of these 3 fields coming up here, is some settings of word processing software will end up pasting the text where it looks like this, where the paragraphs don't run together. And so if you're reading, it's a little hard to tell where a new paragraph starts. So for each new paragraph, what you're going to want to do is you're want to go to the beginning of the second paragraph, hit backspace, and then hit enter. and that is going to format it perfectly for you. So backspace, enter, backspace, enter. Oh, see, that's right there, one of the examples where it kind of looks like it's the same paragraph, so it's hard to tell. And then backspace, enter, and you're good. And so if your text does copy and paste like that, that's just a really simple way to do that. So next we have the synopsis field. And I don't have a synopsis for keeping your secret because it was sold on spec, so I never needed to write one. But this is what it should roughly look like. I basically just copied my back cover copy over and over again to fill one page. And as long as it fits on one page, single space with standard formatting, it is going to fit in the form. So as long as you're trying to follow the rules and not trying to do anything weird, it will definitely work for you. So standard formatting, by the way, is Times New Roman 12-point font. And also it looks like I'm going to show you the paragraph settings real quick. Zero spacing before, zero spacing after, single spacing here, no special indent is fine, no indentation, just kind of standard formatting. And then also page layout, sorry, I always forget where it is this normal 1-inch margins. And so don't do narrow margins, that's not standard, and that's a little cheaty. So make sure you're doing those standard formatting things. So I'm going to copy my fake synopsis, which is not a synopsis because it's just my query letter over and over again, and copy and paste it here. And so what it's going to do is it's going to separate these paragraph breaks with this line here, and that's perfect. That's what you want it to look like. Do not worry about it. And again, if you have like a little bit of funky formatting, it may look like this when you copy. And again, the same thing, you're going to want to backspace and enter for each new paragraph. Super easy, right? It's a little tedious, but it's not too bad. And so just go ahead and do that all the way through. And actually, I'm just going to leave the last half of this like this so that I can show you what it'll look like if you forget to do it. And then we're going to do the writing sample. And so the writing sample is the first chapter or first 10 pages, whichever is longer. And so if your first chapter is over 10 pages, post the whole first chapter. If your first chapter is short, you want to post the first 10 pages. Now, if your first chapter is like 9.5 pages, it's totally fine to just post the first chapter and leave it at that. So I'm going to go over here. I have my first chapter saved here and paste it there. And so this is what it should look like for most people. And so if you'll see, I have some italics in here. It has preserved my italics. So, but if you're posting from like Notepad or something where it strips your formatting, you just want to go through and make sure that it kept all of your italics when they were intended. Because this window does allow you to do a little bit of formatting. And so if it had missed some formatting when you copied over, you can italicize that. Now, what I would recommend is if you have text that's supposed to be like in a different sort of font than something, so this is supposed to be a different font. What you can do to indicate that is you can either, put some kind of description and saying you're going to put this different font in brackets, or you can alternately highlight it and maybe make it bold if it's supposed to be a different font. And there actually is this additional formatting thing here. And so these are some of the options. You can do a strike through, you can add a horizontal line, or you can change the text color. I wouldn't recommend changing the text color because we do have kind of a formatted site that we're viewing this on. And so you don't know if the text color is going to make it look a little weird or a little hard to read on the site that we're viewing it on. So I wouldn't recommend changing that at all. You do have a clear formatting, so if you copy through and there's like a lot of really funky formatting, you just may want to Control All and do that clear formatting. And it's going to do, what it's going to do is it's going to remove all of the bolds and italics, and if you have some like really weird formatting, it's probably going to remove most of that too. So you'll notice there's no more italics in my manuscript here. And so if you do have to do that because you have funky formatting, you're going to have to go through and manually redo that italics if you have them. Oh, sorry. And so this is an indent. Do not use this at all. So I know in a standard manuscript format, it's supposed to look indented, right? But definitely don't do that for our purposes. All we need is this space in between paragraphs, which actually isn't a space here. It's just a formatting space. It's not like there's not an actual line there. I hope that's clear. I'm trying to think of all the questions that we had last year and make sure that I address them all. So when we say do not manually double space lines, what we mean is this. To make it look like, so in your manuscript, you know, it's supposed to be double space. But if you do this, it is going to look so bad on our website. So make sure you don't do that. Just keep all of the paragraphs together like they're supposed to be, and do not double space that way. And so this says manually place the space between paragraphs. So that's what I was talking about earlier with the backspace and enter. And so some people got confused between these two. They thought these were conflicting statements. And as you can see from what I've shown you, they are not. So yeah, I hope that's clear. If you have any questions about that, just go ahead and leave them in the comments down below and I will try to answer them. So here we have permission to swap. Are you giving us permission to share your submission with other mentors who may be interested in your work? Please note that there is no guarantee that your work will be shared. So who has access to your submission if you click no are the mentors that you submitted to, if they have any slush readers, our tech team and our leadership team. Those are the only people that are going to be able to see your submission if you say no. If you say yes, basically what you're saying is you're allowing the mentors that you submitted to send your work to someone else if it seems like it might be a really good fit. And I do want to stress, because people really think about this a lot. I think people think a lot about it a lot more than it actually happens. Is this swapping is exceedingly rare. It only happens when a mentor is having trouble finding something in their submissions that they are not really connecting with. And so this used to happen a lot more, but that was back when we only had like 20 or 30 submissions per mentor. And now we usually get a lot more than that. So this is very rare, but it does occasionally happen. And so we want to make sure that we have your permission to show that original submission to another mentor if the case happens. So we have this privacy policy here. This is basically required by the European law that was passed. I don't really understand it entirely. Luckily, our tech director, Gail, knows it much better than us. And so you can click through and you can read the privacy policy, which is pretty standard blanket privacy policy. It's a lot of template, actually. So you just have to make sure you agree to that. And then you click submit. And it takes a couple seconds. All right, so we have a couple of notices up here. Thank you for submitting. We're not able to make changes once your submission is submitted. That is very important. So make sure before you hit that submit button that you're double checking and making sure everything is absolutely perfect. Like, be really tedious about this because we cannot make changes for you. And it is really upsetting if you miss out on your opportunity because you forgot to paste in, half of your first chapter, or you pasted in your synopsis twice inside of your query or something like that. So please, please, please double check everything. Some email providers such as Yahoo, ATT, AOL, many more delayed our confirmation emails because we send out so many in a given period, in a short period. They are thinking that we are sending spam out. We did not have a huge problem with this with Gmail last year. Near the end, there was a little bit of delay, but and I'm going to give you an email address. I don't remember it right now, but once I'm done filming this video, I'm going to go ahead and write it in text and put it up on the screen. So you're going to see it right here. And that is the email address. If you have some way of like whitelisting an email address or telling your email provider that an email address is a safe sender, you want to go ahead and do that. And that's going to help us to get emails out to more people. So if you have multiple email addresses and one of them happens to be a Gmail, you probably want to submit using the Gmail address because that is the one that we have the least problems with. But if you don't receive that email, confirmation email, but you're seeing this page, then we received your submission. When I say seeing this page, I mean it will show you all of your information that you submitted below. So if you're just seeing this part of it and this part is blank, go ahead and just resubmit your submission because we probably did not get it, and it's much better for us to just get a duplicate, same exact information than for you to not have your submission in, because if you're not seeing this info below, there is some sort of glitch, and so you want to make sure that we get your submission, so just go ahead and resubmit all over again. Don't worry about the formatting of your entry here. Sometimes it may look a little funky, but Gail has created a great site for the mentors to log into that makes your submission look great. So you're going to see your name, your email address, your confirmation email address, and all the information that you submitted. So that's the query, that's the synopsis. Now remember I said I was going to show you, I was leaving these spaces out so I could show you what it would look like. And so think about the mentors getting something like this. This is really hard to read because it's just a huge block of text and there's no indication of where the paragraphs start. And so that's why you want to make sure to do, if you're seeing those paragraphs squished together like that, that backspace enter that I showed you before. And then we see our writing sample here. So usually that's your first chapter, except in the instances that we talked about before. And you're going to get to see, all the information that you submitted. All right, so like I said, if you see your information on this page, on this confirmation page with this little header here that has, we got your submission, then you are good to go. You don't need to check with us. We got your submission. But it is always nice to get that email confirmation. And so hopefully you receive one, but if you don't, it's not us, it's because your email provider thinks that our Pitch Wars email address is spam because we are sending out so many emails at the same time. So I kind of put these like dummy emails in here so y'all couldn't see all of my emails. That's what that all is. But so hopefully if you get a confirmation email, it's going to look just like this. And it's going to have all of your information that you submitted on there as well. But this is what your confirmation email is going to look like if you get it. Like I said, a lot of people don't, especially if you don't have Gmail. But if you saw that other page, the confirmation page, then we got your information. And what I would recommend you do is you can go ahead and save this page to your computer, or you can print it out, or whatever you want to do to make sure, just to comfort yourself, I think, to remind yourself that you did submit, because I know sometimes I have those little moments of panic where I'm like, did I do that or did I imagine it? And so I would like, just for my own peace of mind, if I were submitting, to have this page saved so I could go back and reassure myself that I actually did it. So I think that is pretty much anything. And then you just wait. And so I do have a video on what to do after you've submitted. And so I'm going to link that in the description of this video in case you missed that, so you can go check that out. Just for clarification, you're not going to see this information up here. This is kind of like the inside of what the mentors will see. And so you're not going to see any of that whenever you're submitting. This is just because I am logged into the submission site. Since the submissions aren't open yet, I do have to be logged in order to see the submission site. And so that's what all this is up here. Just go ahead and ignore that. That's not important and you won't be seeing that.
So I hope that walkthrough helped you understand the submission process a little bit better and answered all, if not most, of your questions. If you do have more questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below and I will answer them as soon as I can. If this video did help you out and you would like to see more videos in the future, please make sure to subscribe and also like the video to let other people know that the video was helpful to you. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.